Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Go on.
Who do we have with us this week, Seb?
So we have two. You guys are brothers, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we got the is it Bornino? That's how you say
Bornino.
it? Bornino Brothers. So
Yeah.
again, you're surrounded. But you guys are Italian, right?
Yep.
A little bit.
You're surrounded by the Italians again, George. I don't know what's going on, man.
I don't know, man, but
We love our games.
in honor of the Italians, look what I got for you boys right there.
Oh,
there you
Peroni,
go.
nice.
Peroni, man.
The Peroni. Cheers. What are you guys drinking tonight?
Go ahead. Yeah, you guys.
I've got an Old Tomorrow Monty's aged rye ale.
Oh, nice.
It's an awesome beer.
Nice.
Actually got a home brew. My wife makes beer, so
Really? We got to bring her out to
so,
tournaments.
It's good beer
we got a
too.
home brew here.
It's very good.
What do you got over there, Seb? You got your
Hold on one
famous.
sec. We might have to start over again because I don't think I know. Okay, there we go. Sorry, it is. Okay, we'll just continue on because
You can cut
it
it.
is recording now. Yeah, nothing cut it. Okay, yeah. So I'm drinking the same as I think I forget how long ago it was, but I have my Skull. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a Skull ice, and I have my 40 Creek here. So I'm gonna make my classic 40 Creek and Pepsi, man. Because to be honest, I didn't get a chance to go to the beer store, so that's all I have left.
Really?
I love 40 Creek. That would have been my next pick here.
Yeah. You know what? My brother-in-law Wally got me started on it, and for as soon as I went at 40, I tried it with the Pepsi. I'm like, you know what? This is like a drink I can get into, man, for sure. So that's what I'm
Actually,
having today.
Nick, you played with Wally at the tournament up in.
I did.
Area.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're definitely gonna talk about that. But before we even get there, back to Peroni. Have you guys ever been to Italy?
No, unfortunately not.
What part of Italy is your family from?
Calabria.
Calabria. Nice.
Mhm.
We were there 2 years ago, and we stayed in Calabria for a week.
Oh, nice.
I want to retire there, man. It's freaking beautiful.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
when I was there, they had Peroni Chill, which is similar to the Bud Light Lime up here, but
Okay.
it's Peroni with lime in it. And it €2. You walk down the street with a bottle. You can't get that here.
No,
It's beautiful.
that's awesome.
It's beautiful. But Calabria, it's fantastic.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We were right on the beach. We got to visit Sicily when we were there. It's beautiful, man. Beautiful. But here we are in Canada, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking bocce
Beautiful
balls.
weather.
Have you guys played bocce?
Love bocce.
Hey, listen, man. I think
I won a tournament when I was younger.
Oh,
Well,
that-
came second.
Listen, I think so. Here's a transition. It's baseball, and then cornhole is the transition sport from baseball, and then I think it's bocce will be the transition sport from cornhole. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I've heard that everyone on your podcast, there's always some link to baseball.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
myself, I was a pitcher myself too.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
It's got to be something. I mean, obviously, it's like the same mechanic, right? So, any pitchers out there, you guys got to start playing cornhole, man. That's it. We've settled it. I think if you're a pitcher, a slow pitch pitcher in baseball, you're a 100% a cornhole player.
I'm hoping. I helped to run the Vaughn League here for slow pitch. And because I just got introduced to it last year, I was going to do it last year, have, a couple lanes going because we have 3 diamonds back to back. So as guys are walking to grab a beverage or go to the washroom, they can start throwing bags. But because of COVID, no opportunity. So hopefully this year, because you would think slow pitch, baseball, cornhole, it's hand in hand.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
That's how I got my
100%.
start. That's how I got my start from Seb introducing it.
That's what I was.
Let's start with you, Nick. How'd you get your start into cornhole?
So for me, it was always ring toss at the cottage. That was our game when Eric was going to come up. So Eric's in Guelph, right? I'm up here. And when he would come down, I was excited because I knew I had someone to play ring toss with. So we would kind of have some competition. And my other brother doesn't play too much. And with ring toss, it's a lot harder for people to get involved. My mom, she didn't really like it. It's hard. She finds it hard, right? We play at a pretty far distance. But then we started playing cornhole. My brother won a set in a poker tournament and he brought it up there, and it was there for one summer. I never even touched it. It was just ring toss for me. And then the next summer we pulled them out and started playing. And I'm like, my mom's playing, my sister's playing, everyone's playing. I'm like, okay, I might have to start switching to this. More people are involved. It's more fun, right?
Yeah.
So we just started playing at the cottage and using bags like this.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Filled with corn.
Yeah.
We
Oh
found
my
so much
God.
corn in one of the boat motors after the winter. They ripped them apart and took the lid off the motor full of corn.
Jeez.
So many bags lasted that summer. Nice got in there.
So where'd you get these boards? You said at a poker tournament or?
My other brother, he
Right.
won them at a poker tournament and up in Muskoka there. He won them, and so he had them there. They were nice. They looked nice. And so we just started playing. Yeah.
And those boards are still around?
They're still around, yeah. A lot of bounce on them. They were made with like I don't know, what would you say, Eric? What would you say it is? Like a 1/4 inch? Like a paneling?
Yeah, maybe. If that, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
lots of bouncing.
You get some air with those bags. Eh?
Oh,
It
yeah.
sounds-
Different
just like
game.
George's first set of bags. Hey George, remember those? I mean, set of boards, those
Well,
metal boards that you bought. Remember?
those technically those were my second set. The first set
Second set.
I found on Kijiji, and they were a little thin plywood, and they weren't even the full size. They were like the 3-footers.
2x3, whatever. Yeah.
I started getting into it, and I thought, you know what, I need bigger boards, but where the hell am I going to put them? So I got those collapsible plastic
Right.
with the metal. They look like DJ cases, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and those things bounce, man. Just poof, bounce.
Yeah, sure.
And I had a quick little tournament back in the day, and we had 2 lanes with proper boards, and then 1 lane with the bouncy boards, and yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like playing in the rain or something, you know. It definitely affects your game.
Yep. 100%.
So those bean bags. Let's get back to those bean bags with those marbles.
Oh, that's these ones.
Yeah.
Are those the ones you brought up? So
I heard that
Those.
story, yeah.
so tell us what happened that day in Barrie. What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah, I wanna
first
know
of,
because-
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I want to know because I was there, I was running it, so I didn't really
No.
I don't really get to see what was happening on the boards, but I know Nick was
Right.
telling me about it. Yeah, so go ahead.
So first of all, I show up early because I'm excited. I'm like, cornhole outside of being at the cottage. I'm excited, right? So I show up. You guys have it all set up great. And first person, I come up to the booth and I look over. I'm like, can I start throwing? Like, I thought I signed up for the singles. I think I didn't
Singles, yeah.
realize there was 3 events happening. So I showed up in the morning, but I wasn't to play until like late in the afternoon. So that's when I was like, okay. And that's when Seb, you said, oh, I might have someone that could play with you. Cause I'm like, okay, well now I'm here. I want to play.
Yeah.
So you kept calling Wally, like, I think I got someone. And Wally came, which was awesome. But the first person I see is George. And you're like, yeah, you can go throw over there. And I went to go walk over there and I was intimidated because he's got his jersey on. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, George
Right?
came ready to play that. He was
It's-
like determined to
Oh
like,
yeah.
do good that tournament.
Oh yeah, he's got his head down, he's concentrating, he's just starts like constant. I'm like, oh boy. So I step to throw, and I'm not throwing even flat bag at this time. I'm throwing like my horseshoe style, flipping it. And George is like, you gotta, well, first he was really nice. He comes up, he's like, yeah, you can throw here, no problem, whatever. And I start throwing and I can't hit the board at all. I'm like, what's the difference between at the cottage where I'm hitting it
Yeah.
and I come here and I can't hit the freaking board at all? I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on? And so then George gives me some tips to throw flat, and then he hears, he's like, what do you got in those bags? Marbles? He's like, you're gonna dent the boards with that thing. And he looks
That's what
at
happened
it.
to the board. I was looking at the boards the other day. I'm like, there's all these dents in one of them, man. Oh,
Yeah, he grabs it and he's like, holy Jesus, man. He's like, here, try this. And he gives me a set to try, and it was way different. And he's like, try to throw it flat. So I start trying to throw flat. And I started to get it, and I started to hit the board eventually. But by the end of the day, I was getting the flat tossed down pretty good with those bags. And I was like, what a difference. I wrote my brother in between games. I'm like, We need new bags. First of all, it's a
Yeah.
whole different game, and
Yeah.
you got to learn how to throw a flat bag. We can't do this horseshoe throw thing anymore.
Makes a difference. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
So was that your first real tournament?
yeah,
per se? Yeah.
that was it. Yeah.
How about you, Eric? Have you ever been to a tournament or a league night or
No,
anything?
no, I've yet to be in any of those tournaments. We were supposed to do the latest one in Barrie, but obviously it didn't happen, so we had
Yeah,
to.
with COVID. That the
hold off
November
on
one,
that.
the one in November
Yeah,
there that we tried
yeah.
to do. Yeah. Yeah, we were
We
trying to get
signed
that
up for
out, but
but
yeah, COVID screwed us with that one.
yeah, so I was pumped to go to that one, but obviously didn't happen. So I haven't been to any of those tournaments. No.
So you're from Guelph, you said, right?
Yeah, I'm from Guelph. I'll be running the league down here.
Right.
We've had 4 tournaments so far
Nice.
before COVID.
Mhm.
But we're just starting to get off the ground now. But, yeah,
Nice.
it's getting in.
So what kind of turnouts have you been getting pre-COVID, of course, for the tournaments?
Starting out, it was a lot of just friends and family,
Right.
coworkers and stuff, right? 16 people or so. But we've had people come down from different areas too. Had some guys from Kitchener come down.
Right.
We've had interest as far as Niagara, so like
Nice.
we've had a pretty good week as well.
Right.
But, starting out, pretty good results so far. Yeah.
As far as like the player base out there, like what do you think? How do you find you finding it? Like are players like have they been playing before? Because we actually had a few guys that one guy specifically Chris from Kelowna, and he was saying that they've been playing for 10 years. Like there's boards being thrown all the time, but not really like at an organized level. Like how'd you find like the player base there that once you started putting it out there, like have you noticed that more people are coming that maybe know what the game is, or are they just totally brand new and like what is this?
Bit of a mixed result. We had a lot of beginners, and the unfortunate thing for beginners is that we had some veterans come down. I know you've had Dean on the show, and
Yep.
he came down and he just, took that
Yeah, he's
tournament
like, yeah.
by storm, right? So it was like, kind of felt bad for newbies, but it was what it was, and we had to open it up to who we could get down here. So we've had a bit of a mixed bag.
bit of a mix.
Yeah.
That's good though, because getting quality players really, in my belief, allows people that are just playing for fun, take a look and see, you know what, this is pretty competitive. This is something that,
Yeah.
it can elevate my game, so to speak, right? So it's good,
Yeah.
and then,
Depends what level you want to work up to, right? So,
right. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And Nick, you're up in Orillia, right? You
Yeah.
guys are like
Well,
opposite ends, right?
Well,
Oh.
yeah. I'm here in Barrie. But I'm
Barrie,
gonna be-
sorry.
Yeah.
And
So
what's
I'm up-
happening up in Barrie with you? You starting anything up there?
So I starting league up in Orillia.
Okay. That's where I
So-
got mixed up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm starting in I'm North Barrie. I'm starting in Orillia. Excited about that. It's been, back at the cottage a couple years back, we said I would play this all year round. Like we should set something up. And then we got busy and we never dealt with it. And that summer went by. So then last summer we got talking, we said, you know what? I really want to play this all year round, not just get excited for it come May to September. Like, let's
Right.
play this. So we talked and we said, okay, let's start. And funny story, I told Seb this story.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. I said, Eric, you're going to open one down in Guelph, and I'll open one up here in Barrie. So I start researching. I don't see anything in Barrie. I start getting some domain names. I start, working on some stuff. I think I even started creating a logo. This was in August, probably last August. And then as I start to follow some people on Instagram, like in the States and stuff, right there, boom, Barrie Cornhole. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? Like, I never even knew, right? And so I write my brother right away. I'm like, okay, Guelph's starting like now.
Yeah.
We got to get going on Guelph right now. And I said, there's one in Barrie. He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they haven't had a tournament yet. They haven't had even anything yet, but they're there. They're about to start. So I said to him, I said, well, we'll start Guelph and then we'll see how it goes. And hopefully I can go to Orillia because, you know, I was trying to move to Orillia actually at one time anyway.
Nice.
So I'm like, you know what? I like up in Orillia too. So maybe we can go there and see what happens. So that's what we're doing. We're starting up there and we're excited.
Nice. And you've put the word out already?
So,
I think he's a little frozen, but he'll come back. How about
okay.
how about in Guelph, Eric?
yes.
Oh, okay. You're back.
We're back.
Great.
Oh, did I freeze? Sorry.
Yeah.
Thought you guys
It's okay. It's technology nowadays. This is what we got to live with.
me here.
So you put the word out that the Orillia Cornhole League is starting, right? How's the interest been for that?
Yeah, the interest has been pretty good. We've got some people interested. I actually I locked down a sponsor.
Oh, nice.
So I've got a guy that's really excited to play, and he's sponsoring us. His name's Mark Good, mortgage man, Dominion Lending Centers. So
Nice.
he's sponsoring the league. So we've got we're gonna put his stuff up on some boards and stuff like that for him, and so that's great. And he's a real community guy, so he does a lot for the community too. So we're excited to be kind of partnering with him.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this game too, right? If you think about it, like, you know, we're all kind of, you know, all of us are still getting started here in Canada and Ontario. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of leagues that are coming out, but it's like the community aspect of it, where it's like, you know, somebody like you, Nick, or you, Eric, you guys, you know, you open up, you just out of the love of the game, you want to play, but then it's so, like, this game is so friendly for everybody to play and gets everybody involved. So like reaching out to like your community and getting people, you know, like businesses, getting them back into like, you know, the swing of things, especially with like this COVID, everybody locked down. Do you think that like cornhole could be a game that we could use or like utilize as like a way to come back to like normal life almost, like once they kind of get out of these like colored zones? Like I think, you know, we can start, you know, mingling again as like human beings. And like, I think, you know, cornhole is a great local community game that everybody can play. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. If I can speak well, I mean, I live in an area called the Ward, and it's very grassroots. One of the first areas to be established in Guelph, and it was very highly populated with Italians, and I can see like that community aspect. They really want to get back to that community aspect, playing games outside, inside, whatever, but just bringing everybody back together to do something that's, you know, social in person, not so much, you know,
Virtual,
online, whatever. It's getting back to that social aspect face to face, right? So you know, that's what we're trying to accomplish here, anyways. And the club aspect, that's really what we're pushing, is the club aspect, the social. We hope to get some great players out of here, but really what our focus is the club aspect and building people up, right? And from beginner and building them up. So that's kind of our goal. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Speaking of Nick, how about on your side, the community component up in Orillia or Barrie?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I think so. I think that would be great for community. I'm hoping as it gets going, you know, to be involved in some of those types of community things. Like I talked about my sponsor there. He like yesterday, for example, stuff like this is just amazing. He was working with a pizza place in Orillia, Tops in Pizza, and they did pizzas for all frontline workers yesterday.
Nice.
Okay, so they could order, they got one free medium pizza, and this is what Mark and so Mark Good and the Tops and Pizza did for these people. So like bringing that community together with especially with the times going on right now, frontline workers working so hard, you know, it was a nice break for them. I bet, to just be able to pick up dinner and not have to really worry about it, you know. So that was pretty awesome. So things like that, you know, bringing community together with events and things, you know, around Christmas, maybe helping do things for communities for, all those kind of getting gifts for kids and stuff like that. We could do a lot, I think, with the game for things like that. Once we get established and get going, we can really start to give back to the community. So that would be amazing.
No, it's awesome. You mentioned, Eric, you have a strong Italian community in Guelph, in the area that you're in.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. It's Guelph is very, very. It's been established basically, by a lot of Italian immigrants, and
Right.
it really has been brought up from that.
Nice.
Every city's got their own thing. Ours is basically based in that, in Italian roots.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I see a lot of that. We have the hockey clubs. We have Italian Canadian clubs. We have all these things,
Absolutely.
and a lot of that is family, and a lot of that is community, right? So we're trying to get back to that if we can.
Speaking of the bocce courts, I live in Woodbridge, right? So we're surrounded with bocce courts. Our first unofficial tournament was at a bocce court after our one of our baseball games. And these bocce courts out here, guys, these are decked out. They're completely fenced in. They have complete coverings. They have 6 lanes. In each lane, you can fit 2 cornhole lanes. They've got the fire pits around there. They have the water park.
Oh wow!
And
sounds amazing.
And the ground is soft, right? So you don't have to worry about the bags hitting or anything, but you guys hit the ground anyway. I hit the boards anyway, so you're good to go. But yeah, it's even the community center here has the Maple Community Center has indoor bocce courts.
Oh come on, nice.
Yeah, and all around them. All around them are the guys and the women playing, Scopa and stuff.
Nice.
If they're not up to play. So
But I'm telling you, man, the growth of cornhole in Canada is going to be through the bocce players, man. We're going to get all the 60-year-olds that can, come back out and be like, bocce, forget it. Let's play cornhole, man.
It's old school.
That's
it's old school.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. Okay, I'll go. I just want to say, getting to back to that community family aspect. I mean, we got 2 brothers here. When you guys played, or when you have played before, what's the rivalry like between you guys when you start throwing the bags? You guys,
who wins?
Yeah, who wins first of all?
You know what? It's pretty even, to be honest. But we put things on the line, if you lose, you're making me the drinks for the next 2 hours, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So keep it going as long as we can until the sun goes down.
I have a family rivalry here. We have in the summer, already my brother-in-law, my father-in-law, my wife, my sister-in-laws, they're already hey, we're doing a tournament, right? Because we basically have a tournament every weekend here at my house, and
nice.
They are dying to play. They're we can't wait for this weather to get clear up so we can start throwing bags in the backyard. And so I might have to invite you guys. Maybe we should have a little rivalry with you guys too. Bring you guys down, and we'll invite George. Well, I'll invite you this time, George. Okay.
I'll be there.
Not last time.
I'll be there.
Right on.
Just don't bring any of those marbles with you. That's all.
No, I won't.
So me and Nick were actually, because we've been kind of talking a bit. He's been coming by the house here a couple times, and talking bags and stuff. And obviously, you guys know I sell bags, and so just always kind of getting in. And so the other day, Nick comes to the house, and before I could even oh, there we go, look at those.
Yeah, there it is. Nice.
Before I could even get the words out of my mouth, he's like, Seb, how many lanes do you think you could fit in your driveway? And I was just about to say the same thing. I could probably fit 4. We fit about 3 lanes for sure, 4 for sure. So
4 for sure. 3 by COVID law.
3 by COVID law, yeah. But I could fit 1 on my grass, so probably 4. So I might have to do a driveway tournament and just get a bunch of guys, and my neighbors would love that, eh?
Was this recent? Was this recent?
A couple days ago, yeah.
Is that why you sent me that picture, Seb?
Yeah. Oh, did I send you the picture? I did. That's right. And that was before I seen him. He was coming. Yeah. I went outside. I took it. Because I was looking. I go, like, I could probably fit like 4 lanes here, no problem. Who needs a venue? Like, screw COVID,
Yeah.
man. Just we could drink and no problem, right?
Seb and I have an ongoing thing where, you know, we go somewhere and it's always in my head, how many lanes can I fit here? You know, you go into like a Costco or something, it's like, you know what, I can probably fit 2 here, 3 there, you know? So
Yeah.
we're always sending each other pictures, you know, how many lanes you think you fit? So
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
it's insane. And believe it or not, speaking of Costco, they actually sell cornhole sets for those of you that are looking
Oh,
into it.
yeah.
And Canadian Tire, like for people who are just getting into
Just
the
to get
sport,
started,
I think
yeah.
it's great.
Right.
Yeah, even on
Absolutely.
Amazon, of course, but it's
Mhm.
fantastic
Mhm.
until you get to that next level. Now, you mentioned the bags. How about the boards, Nick? When you first tried those boards in Barrie, did they make a difference too?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, the ones at the cottage bounce, right? Like you don't know
Yeah.
where it's gonna go.
Right,
You hit the bottom of the board and you get a swish into the middle, like
right.
you know, an airmail. But you know, all jokes with these bags, yes, for tournaments and for playing, not very good. But playing up at the cottage and
Absolutely.
stuff, these are
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Like
they're
those-
durable. You don't have to worry about it hitting the ground so much. You don't have to be worried about your, you know, $100 set getting destroyed,
Yeah.
Right.
right? So
No, for sure. It makes a
no, the
difference.
boards made a huge difference. Huge
Yeah.
difference too. Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's one way that, you know, through like the leagues and through what we're doing now and what you guys are doing is, I think that's what we need to bring to the table, where it's like we need to get like the weekend warrior, you know, players out there that are like, you know, how I started just throwing in the backyard, and then getting them out to one of our events, to one of the tournaments that were happening, and show them, hey, look, you can play this like for real. Like this is
Yeah.
not like just, you know, drink some beer and you know, just screw around. Like this could be a very serious game. What do you guys think like the path for Canada, or like, you know, locally Ontario, like what do you think the growth path you think for cornhole is going to be in the next, like, you know, months to like years coming up?
Well, I think, yeah, and we've talked about this a little bit before too, Seb. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of growth with it, with everything happening in the States, all the ESPN showing. But now what's happening here, you can see even just in this new year or from December,
Mhm.
I mean, people are starting to grab onto it, and COVID and everything, people are looking for things to do. Like in Guelph, we found a lot of people didn't really know about it or what it was, right? But as soon as you start talking about it and they get it, you're right, you get them out there. Oh, my internet. As soon as you get them out there, they really like it, right? So they
Yeah.
love it. But now it's just this COVID's holding back. So I think
Yeah.
when stuff starts to ease a little bit here, I think we're going to see some growth moving forward with this in Canada for sure. And you know, everything Cornhole Canada's doing, everything's going to help, right? Like pushing that message and just letting people know, like you said, like this is a thing. Like you can play for fun, or you can play serious. But
Yeah.
the good thing
Yeah.
too is for people like me that are competitive and love it, we're not too far out that it's out of reach to still get really good at it and be at that level.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's the drive for me, is that I'm very competitive. I've played lots of sports and I'm always competitive with them. But the fact that I hear some of these good players like Dean Lang, who's been playing, and he's only been playing for what, I think under 3 years, like
Yeah.
2.5 years. And he's watching him, like even when he was in Guelph there, like he was hitting the hole on every
Yeah.
shot. Jeff Shantz was there and he's throwing and hitting the hole, like everything. When I talked to him, I was amazed when he told me, I've only been playing since, like, you know, I think it was 2 years or something when he told me. Maybe it was more, I'm not sure, but it was under 3 years, I'm pretty sure. And they're really good, right? Now, you know, and then there's the American players where they got the 10-year-olds that are amazing.
They're like, they have like the little kids there are like on fire. But they think about it, they've been like, their parents have been playing cornhole for like 15 years competitively in leagues every night. And so these kids are literally being brought up, just like, you know, when I was a kid, or like when you were a kid, like if your parents played, like you would be at like a hockey rink, or like a like my son's back at a hockey rink all the time, right? So they just, these in the States, they're like out of cornhole lane every single night, these kids. And you know, that's I think another aspect that I think, you know, even through Cornhole Canada, we're thinking about a strategy for that as well, is you know, to get like the youth leagues kind of involved and stuff too. But I agree with you, Nick. I think that once these like, COVID kind of opens up, I think you're going to see like just like an influx of games and players. And I think once we start playing on a weekly basis and like, properly on the tournaments, you're going to see our skill level so quickly get at par, if not like, I wouldn't say it's going to get to the States, but quickly you're going to see a rise up in talent right away for sure.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask for this year, besides the leagues, have you guys considered tournaments yet, or have any venues set up already?
No, we haven't. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
I was to say, yeah, no, we haven't really set up yet, but we have been thinking about it like that.
Right.
When can we actually start going on this? So, the league is kind of up in the air, so do we just post some tournaments, in between, and just try to get as many people as we can at the time involved. So that might look like something we could do in the following months, but who really knows, right?
Exactly. It's tough right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's up in the air. I've been wanting to start up, my league again, but we kept being put on hold or something happens, and what are you going to do? Do you guys right now over the winter, have you had a chance to
Yeah.
play indoors or anything at all? Any virtual tournaments? Nothing?
No virtual, but I've been throwing in the
Yeah.
basement, but only at
Yeah.
17 feet.
Oh, you're gonna.
That's dangerous, man. That's
So when
dangerous.
I go to play at the full length, I should probably hit 10 feet short there, right?
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say your first tournament's gonna be a fun one to watch.
yeah, it's
That's what I was saying to him. So you have to be careful with that.
but
You know what though? I think throwing. I agree though. I think if you can throw, it's still about accuracy and aim. You can always like if you're being a pitcher too. I'm sure you're used to like adjusting all the time on the fly. So like you'll probably adjust pretty quickly. I wouldn't worry too much.
I think so. I've been focusing on my stance and my release mostly. Obviously, that's all I can really do at that distance. So I've just been really trying to nail that down because I used to do a step. Now I kind of stand with my right foot forward, trying to figure that out. But it's amazing how much of a mental mess it can be because I literally was downstairs the other day throwing and I couldn't miss. I went and did some work. I came back a couple hours later and I was hitting the board. A lot of them were sliding off the back. I couldn't get them in the hole. I was like, what's going on? Like this morning I was throwing, I couldn't miss. Now so I checked my stance and I'm like, everything seems the same. But I've heard people say on your podcast before, it's just that one thing, right? An extra little movement this way or that way, and you're off. So I think it might have been Dean saying that, like, and so trying to limit your movements to try to get that right. So I'm just focusing on that. It's a short distance, sucks, but it's better than not throwing at all. So,
No, for sure. How about you, Eric? Have you had a chance?
Honestly, I haven't thrown a bag since November, so
Yeah.
I don't know what's.
I think we should play cat. We should get you to do all. Well, I haven't been throwing either. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot here because I haven't been throwing at all. But hopefully soon we're gonna with the weather even too. Like even today, I went outside. Like it's a little cold, like 0 degrees, but the sun is shining. It's tempting for sure. Like I actually threw a couple bags today just because I had some guys come by to pick up some bags, and so I just wanted to give them a little working and yeah. So yeah, man. I think once the weather opens up too, we start getting some bags thrown that way for sure.
Well, it's supposed to hit 13 next week, so I don't know.
Yeah. We might have to get some virtual tournaments happening. I think
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different game, but at least you get to throw, and that's what's important. I mean, guys that win in virtual, playing virtual is playing by yourself, right? As opposed to playing with someone else.
Yeah.
So it's a huge difference, but at least you get a chance to throw, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys from a player's perspective, if there's a league happening where there's no alcohol, would that change your mind in going? I'm just curious to know.
No, I mean, we ask that question all the time when we were setting up.
Yeah.
You know, I ask the people, I ask them, I say, you know, is this a big deal to you? Is this a deal breaker kind of thing? Because, you know, I thought, and no contracts right now, I thought maybe I'll go rent a gym, or maybe I'll.
Yeah.
Personally, big deal.
Sorry, you cut out after the gym.
Okay, for me personally, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Because I could throw without, but I do like to have a beer
Sure.
in hand, you know, but it's not a big deal. Oh, I don't know if I'm cutting out. It says your internet connection's messed up, but so no, but it was cutting out. Sorry.
You're good.
So anyways, yeah, so for me, I could do it without. Obviously it's nice if the option's there, but yeah. I find, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think for me personally, like if I'm gonna play, like I want to win, then I don't want to drink anyway, so it wouldn't affect me. But I know there's some guys out there that is like, yeah, it's like if they don't have a beer in their hand, they can't throw, right? So I think it's one of those things where you have to kind of play it by ear.
Yeah.
But I think the hardcore guys are not gonna care.
No.
Especially now, they're gonna want to come out and play like 100%.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, I'm more of a social player, to be honest with you at this point, anyways. But I do like that social aspect. And, you know, it is nice to have a drink or food or whatever, even in between games. You know, that you know, it's a different level. It's different. If you want to play at that level, it's different, right? I like the social aspect.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And I think it was Seb that just mentioned that the players are going to want to come out no matter what, seeing how we've been locked in for a year now, right? And the occasional opportunity comes up to play, but it's not like in the States where there's literally something happening every single night, tournaments every single weekend. So up here, I mean, we got to take what we can get, you know, and you know, whether there's alcohol or not, I think it'll be good. There's a lot more word out. If anything, I think COVID has helped the sport because there's been a lot more social, right? Instead of just being out there and playing a different sport and then, oh yeah, cornhole, whatever. But now it's like, hey, let's give this a try, right?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It should be fun. I'm looking forward to this year. Hopefully things open up and I'm sure there's going to be limitations, but you know what? They're going to be quick signups. If you're limited to 50 people, you know, the first 50 get in. Everybody's going to sign up.
Yeah, that's the only fear with COVID and stuff, is, you know, all the, you know, is there liabilities behind that and this kind of stuff when people are coming out? I mean, you'd think everyone would know, like if I'm going, it's out in the community. It might be a risk I'm taking, but at the same time, if you be safe as you can with it, I know us as a league, we're trying to make it as safe as possible. We're trying to keep all of our distances and we'll enforce things like, you know, like we're Canadian. We want to give a high five or whatever. We want to grab their bags. We want to do these types of things, but like, let's just leave it and let everyone get their own. And let's just till we're through this, right? It's, you know, it kind of sucks, but it's just habit for us to do that. Like pick them up for someone. You're not going to be like, yeah, here's mine, you get your own. But you know, it's just with these times, we just got to watch everything if we want to actually be able to do this and not run into issues, I think personally. But
I think though, cornhole though, I mean, it's probably the most social distance game, I mean, sport you can really play. Like, I mean, every other sport really, like, other than maybe like tennis or like those kind of, you know, pickleball, that sort of thing. But like, you know, imagine playing like, you know, ball hockey. Like I can't, you know, or like football or like, you know, baseball maybe. Like I think baseball you can get away with, you know,
for sure.
Dugout, but I think cornhole is a game that you can play. You know, that's one thing that, you know, people should know. Like, you know, you can do it, you know, socially distanced and you know, safely. So.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I mean, I'm a part of a ball hockey league, and you know, when this whole thing happened, they tried to transition to come back, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. You know, because this wasn't at the time. I just didn't feel like it was safe to do it.
Right.
But this felt safe to me, right? It was just we can do this in a safe environment. You know, we can make it happen. So
No, for
Especially
sure.
outdoors too.
yeah, especially outdoors,
No, for sure. I think we're all looking forward to it. Eric, do you have bags with you?
with them on me right now.
Yeah, right now? No?
I don't have them on me right now.
That's okay.
Downstairs, but
I was gonna ask you guys your grip, Nick. You mentioned that you went from a step to a non-step, right? Left foot, right foot. Let's talk about your grip. How did you initially up in the cottage hold your bags? Do you remember?
I held my bag like this.
you know what? Yeah,
Because
But
I used
you
to
were
do that.
doing a
I was
horseshoe, right?
throwing it like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
square
was-
on like this.
I was a corner of the bag, you know, dangly toss. That's what
Like
I
that.
did.
That's the way
And
I
it
started.
pretty-
Yeah.
That's what, yeah, doors was
It worked
starting like
pretty
that.
good for a while, and then when I learned, you know, well, here's the thing: the bags Nick showed you first. Hold ones out for a second. You have them, Nick?
Oh, this.
No, yeah, that thing. Yeah. So that's what I did the dangly toss with. And then
Yeah,
when we
that's a
went
good
to this-
dangler.
we went to those other marble
Cough.
slicking sticks you have there. Yeah, we started using those, and then I started doing the flat toss a little bit.
Right.
But you know, then I went and then I tried some, you know, better bags, and I realized what could really happen. It could really do some damage with the real good bags. So,
Right. So where have you evolved to now, Nick, with your hold
Like this.
like that, eh?
So
Now,
I put the corner right into like the kind of the middle of my palm.
oh, okay.
So kind of back of the bag a little bit.
Now, what about the seam? Does it matter to you?
Not really. I mean, sometimes those things do play into my mind, but I try to stop thinking about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was a time I'm very OCD with things, so
Yeah.
it's, you know, I'm very like, yeah, it's got to be on the left side, but I try not to think now. I just kind of grab, make sure it's the right side I want to throw, and
Right.
because I find the more I think about it, and I think Tony talked about this,
Yeah.
it just messes you up more.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
Like seriously, the more I think about everything, it just messes me up. Like really, like Tony
Yeah.
said, I think it was Tony said, you're just trying to get it in that hole. And I find there's times where it's really weird when I come back to that whole mental thing I was saying, where I'll spend time, you know, thinking about it and trying to throw, and I'm doing good. And I think, okay, this is what I got to do. The next time I miss. So it doesn't really matter. And then I'll throw it relaxed and it goes in every time. I'm like, okay, this isn't making any sense to me. I don't know. So I try not to think about it too much, because you overthink it.
Right.
It just messes you up.
That was me with playing virtual. It was like I would throw like, you know, 10 like down and backs, and then okay, I'm ready to go, and I was getting like, you know, 10, you know, averaging 9 points, no problem, just not even thinking about it, just like tossing, just like, and then turn the camera. Okay, now it's not like I'm thinking, okay, and then I would throw the first bag, and then I would miss the first bag, and then I started thinking, oh shit, I just lost 3 points, and then it just, you're all in your
Yeah.
mind, and it screws you up, right? So I think, yeah, if you can just be relaxed and just throw the bag, it's probably the best thing. But I think when you're playing against somebody and you get down to those like nitty gritty games, man, it's like you have to hit this shot. That's why I love cornhole, man. It's like in almost every game, there's going to be that situation where like you can't miss. Like you only have 4 shots, and really you can't afford to miss one bag, because you miss one bag as a good player, that's it. Like your game is probably over, right?
Yep, 100%. And that's what I've been concentrating on a lot lately, which before the Barrie tournament, never thought of it. Just throw. But after that Barrie tournament, I really realized the strategy and the different things you can do in this game that most people looking at it go, you're throwing bags in a hole. Like, right?
Yeah.
For example, I'll never forget, and I try to remember this, the one kid at the tournament, one of the younger guys, he beat me. It made it worse because he told me it was his first win of the day. And now I had a massive migraine that day, so it didn't help. And the speakers were going pretty loud, so that didn't help either. But what this kid kept doing was he kept putting a bag in the middle of the board. And me, being stupid, kept trying to go above his bag on every shot. And they just kept sliding right off. And I lost all these points, and then he just would drop them on there because of that one placement. I should have at least put a couple on the board first. Don't worry about going above. Just get it on there,
Yeah.
and then see
Chip
where
away.
it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, chip away.
So little things like that, that going into that tournament, I never thought of that before. I just threw him like, okay, he's there. I've done this a million times. I'll go over his bag, slide it in. No, I would put him off the board and just lose points. So,
Right.
things,
Yeah.
simple things like that I never thought of before, that now I realize you gotta pay attention to this stuff.
What about
Especially against a good player too? Like if you're playing a guy that can hit like 9 or 10 points, yeah, you can't. You got to start playing smart for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely?
Yeah.
So the next part of that, the question of how you hold them. What do you do with the other 3 bags? Do you keep them in your hand, or do you put them on the board?
Well, I think in the berry term I was keeping them on the board, but now again with me being very particular, I keep them and they got to be all nice and flat and stacked in my hand nicely. Can't
You
be
have to-
scrunched up. It's got to
you
be
have to
all
be
nice,
Lined up as well.
all lined up perfectly, nice and flat on my hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen you guys when I watched the virtual. I saw you do that, and I was wondering, like, what are you guys doing? Like, because I just picked up probably 2 at a time. I think.
Yeah.
That's
on the
because you
board,
always
2 in
have
the
2
hand.
beers on the go.
Well, that is true.
So
That
you
is-
can't hold it.
yeah, So
You need one of those hats with the beer hats, man, so you can have 2
Yeah,
beers going and
exactly.
you can.
Mm.
that's
So
probably what it is.
There we
I
go.
think
That's going up in the shop.
That's it.
So yeah,
So-
so that's
so
what you guys are doing.
it makes a
I think
difference,
it's
yeah.
flattening it up. Yeah.
So
Okay.
you stack them up, Nick, nice
Yeah,
and neat.
now I've been stacking them up. Yeah, I've been holding them nice
Okay.
and neat in my other hand, stacking them up.
I think
Yeah.
it just goes to like the same. It's just the consistency. You want to keep everything almost like the rhythm the same, right? If you pick up the ball, pick them up, stack them the same way in your
Yeah.
same stance. You have your same, so the rhythm doesn't get screwed up. When
It's the routine.
it's the routine of it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So if you
Yeah.
don't, I find that too. Like when
Mm.
I'm really serious and I have to get these points. It's like I have to get into my routine, right? If you're just
Yeah.
playing around and you notice like it does
big
affect your
difference.
throw 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you play against, quote, a weaker player, does your game change at all? Or do you just play? We're talking at let's say at a tournament.
Well, like I said, I've only really played in the one Barry tournament and then some of the Guelph ones there. But it depends. So, in the Barry tournament,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was pretty like the weaker players would have been me, right? Like, or comparable to me. So I was always trying to give her the best I could, always.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, when I played in Guelph, there were some newbies. I might have kind of lightened up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because they were there. And I read it. If they're a competitive person too, I'm never going to play less.
Right.
Because if me as a competitive person, I don't want anyone to ever play less against me, ever.
Right.
I like being the underdog. I like trying to come back and win. But if there's someone that's a social player that's there for fun, and I can kind of read that usually, and I'm not going to try to hammer the hole every time because, I mean, I can't do that to them, right? They're there to have fun. I want to finish the round and the game in 3 rounds, like I
Yeah,
want to let them throw some, right?
absolutely. I think it's the same as any other sport. If you're about to mercy a team, whether it's hockey or baseball or something, you kind of move things around, lighten up a bit, right? To get your game in at least, right? So
I'll practice shots. I'll
Yeah.
try a block. I'll try to put a
Yeah.
block and try to like move that bag, work on things. I'll use it as practice if I have to, right?
that's a great
Yeah.
idea. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But you don't just nilly-willy start closing your eyes and throwing.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm
That's
still going to use it
also-
for
yeah,
training. I'm going to use
absolutely.
every game for me to practice something. I'll put it up short, and the next one I'll try to push it a little, or I'll try to move it in from the outside and just slowly work it and see what I can do with that. Right? I'm not going to just.
And
You gotta
I
still
think
use
I
it.
think that's good to the kind of talk about too right now is like not to say that we're like professional players by any stretch of the means, but we're like we
Not
could
at
say
all.
we're the ones that are kind of taking the game and trying to push it. But like like maybe that's a good thing for any pro players out there or good players that maybe are coming to tournaments and leagues. If you find that you're playing against a new person, because the last thing you want to do is discourage this person. And by working on a shot like that, like by practicing your blocks or practicing shots, it's actually teaching the other person too, like a different they see what you're doing, like, oh, this guy's throwing a block or he's trying to push the bag, and they might not even think about that as a strategy, versus if you just go for the hole and you're like 4 in, they don't even know what the game's about, right? So it's almost like you're helping them without even knowing that you're helping them, you know what I mean? And then you're actually working on your own shot, so it's kind of a win-win for everybody, right?
Well, that's what the Barrie tournament did for me, because I would just go throw. And when I got to that tournament, I'm watching what's happening and I'm like, oh, okay. There's way more to this than the way I've been playing. Like I got to think about this, you know, and I got to block. Like when there's a good player, I can't leave the lane open for him. Like I got to set a block so that he has to go over me, make it hard for him. Like I can't do that. So these are the things I picked up at that, you know, the one bigger tournament that I've gone to is those little things like that, right? Things I never thought of before. So that was me. Like what you just talked about, Seb, that was me coming in and trying to figure out. And by no means am I anywhere you know, I've got a lot of room in my game. I can't wait to get throwing at the proper distance and see if what I've been doing in the basement is actually doing anything for my throw, my release. But I'm excited for that.
For sure. I think back to that same point, we're all waiting. Is there anything in the game that, do you guys watch the ESPN televised tournaments that they have down there?
I usually catch it on Instagram and stuff. Like I don't see when it's on actual on TV, but
it's insane the level that these guys play. Even we had Steve on a few weeks ago. He was from KW and he went down to the States, and the first time they went down here in Canada, here in Ontario, they were the better players, so they always played at the advanced level here, right?
Right.
So he told us when he went down there and they went for that same level, they got smoked. And the second time they went down to be competitive, they went down, I think 1 or 2 levels, even though here in Canada, they were up here. In the States, you know, it's a different level altogether.
That's what I hear. I hear like our top level here is like down towards more closer to the bottom there. Like that's how good they are and how much they play, right?
It's crazy, but that's good. Hey, hats off to them, right? But
For
hopefully one day we'll get to that level at a larger scale. You know, right now there's pockets of good players, which is great.
Yeah.
It's now starting to try to expand that, right? So that's across the board, so that, you know, potentially down the road, there's league nights every night of the week where you can pick. You know, Tuesdays there's 2 or 3, Wednesdays there's 4 or 5, so on and so forth. You know, up until now, there's been maybe 1 or 2 a week. But yeah, hopefully we'll get there.
Right.
Right on, man. Well, listen, we're almost at like an hour in here. I mean, you know, I think it's maybe a good time to kind of maybe you know, say our goodbyes. But before we do that, guys, Nick and Eric, like, tell us how, you know, if anybody's watching this in Orillia or Guelph, like, how can they get involved with your leagues? And you know, obviously right now things with COVID are a little bit slow, but things are going to be coming. Like, what could they do and to reach out to you guys to start throwing some bags?
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, you know, reach out on our socials. We're gonna be hopefully pumping some stuff out soon. Just some content and, you know, maybe some tips and whatnot, just to keep people interested. You know, it would be nice to get some virtual going or something like that, but at this point it's kind of hard, you know, trying to build membership base and do all that kind of stuff at the same time. But you know,
so just check out your socials. Where can they find you? What's their socials? Just so
on Instagram we're Guelph Cornhole, and on Facebook.
Sorry.
Really?
Go ahead, sir.
Facebook is just the Guelph Cornhole stuff.
Nice. Cool. Awesome,
And
man.
Yeah, for Orillia, you can get us at Orillia Cornhole on Facebook and Orillia Cornhole Club on Instagram. And then you can find us at the Canadian Cornhole, Canadian Cornhole Leagues.com /Orillia and /Guelph for the Guelph one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask one last question. If there's going to be a battle of the Borninos, Who am I putting my money down on?
Well, I would say me now because I've been tossing a little bit, even though it's
Well-
17 feet. Although I might end up short. Who knows?
So let me finish the question though.
Okay.
Probably our
After,
mom
after a
bought the
12
cottage.
pack, after a 12 pack.
After a 12 pack.
Oh, after 12 pack, probably him.
Yeah, probably me, man.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah.
I'm not the biggest drinker, so I mean,
Okay.
I'm good with a couple. But this guy can drink all day.
So I guess before we put the money
Yeah,
down, we
totally
gotta ask how much you've had to drink, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. That's true. Very true.
But if I one last thing here,
Yeah,
You know,
go ahead.
and maybe it's I don't know, but Seven, I talked. It would be awesome if eventually we do things like maybe we could do a Barry Orillia combined against Guelph and someone other in another club that's down that
Oh,
way, a
listen,
league,
that's gonna happen.
and we're gonna create some kind of
100%.
thing.
Listen,
And then it'd be
that-
awesome because not only are we doing like club versus club or two clubs teaming up with two clubs or
Region versus
leagues,
region. Let's go.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
right?
We're
Now
down.
I got to go against my brother, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen,
we're
we're
ready, yeah.
definitely there's going to be a rivalry. Like I think it's going to be as close as the Montreal Toronto, Barry and Orillia. I think we're going to have a good rivalry.
It's gonna be good.
But then we'll team up and we'll go after your brother, no problem, man. And we'll go down their way.
Sure. Yeah,
And
we'll be
we'll lay
ready.
the smackdown.
For sure.
That'd be awesome. Guys,
Awesome,
thanks again for being on.
Cheers, guys.
Guelph
Thanks, guys.
Cornhole Club and,
Yeah.
and Orillia Cornhole Club. We're looking forward to 2021 season. All the best to you guys. Stay safe and keep on throwing.
Yeah, perfect.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
great.
Thanks for having us on. Can't wait to throw with you guys.